Welcome back, everybody, to Pet Orlando's Talk to the Paw, episode number 4. Today I have Deb Lynch with me from Pet Orlando.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
And today, what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go back to what we did in episode number 2 and talk about storms and hurricanes. And Deb and I, we live in Orlando, Florida, and it's actually hurricane season now.
It's hurricane season, it's storm season. We have storms every day and around a certain time, and then we have the heat of the sun on top of that.
Right.
We're lucky.
So as you know, in a storm, you get a lot of rain, a lot of loud thunder, a lot of crackle, and your pets can get scared. So what are some things we can do to help relieve the tension and the anxiety of your pet?
Yeah, there are so many things out now for them to have. One of the things, I always use something and then I turn the TV on real loud to help block out the thunders and that kind of thing. But we also have things to help calm them and keep them calm during the time of the storm. We have between herbals, homeopathics, flower essence, CBD. There's so many things that you can, and the best thing to do is to have something to keep them calm, not put them to sleep to where they're sleeping through it. You want them aware, but yet just calm.
Naturally, and you don't want to knock them out like Deb was referencing. So let's say we're hunkered down, it's a hurricane, it's a bad storm, it's thundering, and your pet has to use the bathroom, but you obviously can't go outside.
No.
So what would you do in a situation like that?
Not everybody goes outside during a hurricane, but well, one of the things that we found last year, which was a really cute idea, and it did work for some of our dogs. Everybody knows us, we have a pack. But it was a great idea. We put a tarp down in the garage, and we got sod pieces, and it was about a 7 by 8 foot pieces of sod. So when they had to go to the bathroom, we take them out. They would go out onto the sod in the garage, be able to go bathroom, come back in, and they were fine.
That's great. So they would get familiar to the smell of the grass inside, and they would use the...
Right, they're used to going out the bathroom on the grass, so that's one reason why we want to try to do that and give them those modern convenience. You've got small dogs, which is great. You can use pee pads. Those are great things to have. I would like my 200-pound grandson be able to use a pee pad, but he needs a little more room than that.
That makes sense.
Yes.
So I've heard that during the storm, sometimes your pet would run away. Is that true? And if it's true, why would they do that?
Well, if they find a way of getting out, because your humans are in a panic and stress, and they feed off of your energy. They're nervous with all the noise and the lightning and the storms. There's a lot of dogs that are super storm scared. If you don't have anything to calm them down, they're going to try to find the way out of that situation, and that's what they're wanting to do. Another thing is, during that, you have to have an identification on that dog. Even during the storm, have their collars on with their name tags. If they've been chipped, make sure your chip is up to date. So if they do find your dog, that they can check the chip, make sure it has the number that you have, the telephone number is right, the address is right. Those are really important. Those are all things and the other thing we found on a list, which was a great idea, get pictures of your dogs and cats. Take pictures of both of them. I don't have to worry with my daughter. She has probably more pictures of her animals than I do of my family members. But that's a great idea, because if they did run away, or if you've had to drop them off at a shelter, that way you can get your animal back just by that photograph.
And you spoke about evacuation. What happens if you live on the coast of Florida or down the coast of the United States, really, and you live in an evacuation zone? So what can somebody do if they have a pet and they live in an evacuation zone?
Well, it probably would be the hardest thing for me to do, but if you have to take them, and everybody in Florida has to know about this. They have to know, okay, if our area, even in the central part, you still have evacuations a lot of times, depends on the hurricanes. Make sure before the hurricane even gets here, make sure you know what your evacuation is.
Okay.
Where are you going to put the pets? If you're taking them with you, find that hotel. And there are a lot of hotels that will accept people with their pets through evacuation.
Wow.
Don't panic, because there's a lot of them out there. You want to know where your evacuation route, what you're going to do with your pets. Make sure you have all your stuff ready for the evacuation. Get it into the car before the hurricane comes if you need to, or have it readily available next to you when you're going out the door. You know, just have all their stuff.
That's a great tip.
Yes.
And speaking of tips, if you can share with the folks some tips that you've come across that you can share for hurricane and storm preparedness that we got off of redrover.org.
Great. Food. First thing, we want food.
Okay.
Like I said, if you can be prepared beforehand, and a lot of times these things can be kept in your house all through the summer months, through the hurricane months, and that type of thing.
How much food do you think they should have stored?
Just depends on what their dogs are, and you would at least try to get it so that you're okay for a week.
About a week, okay.
It just depends. Canned food. Canned
Okay.
dog food's fine. If you got plastic bags with the kibbles, if that's what you're doing. We feed raw here, so I have things like air-dried raw that you can use that's readily available, quick and easy.
That's great.
Just pouring it into their food. Those are easy ones.
Okay.
Water. Make sure you have a jug of water for them too, guys, because here's the thing. Your stress, they feed off your energy. Their stress, that means they lose a lot of body fluid with that stress.
And you want to have at least a week's worth of water.
You definitely want at least a week's worth.
Right.
If you don't have quite a week's, at least 4 to 5 days, so until you can, after the hurricane, if you're still at your house, that you can be able to get water for them. Do not drink it out of the puddles, because you wouldn't believe what these things churn up.
Right.
I've had a dog that actually, the day after, when they were able to go out, they had ended up that whole week afterwards actually had his pads coming off.
Yikes.
Because of the stuff that it churns up into your yard. So don't let them drink the water in the puddles, and be careful about with them walking in your yard afterwards.
Right, so basically once the hurricane or the storm is finished, you want to take them out for a walk in the grass to use the bathroom. Watch out what's in that grass. You might have some twigs, some things that might cut the paws.
Some things that they chur up that can actually infect their paws and cause problems. That's exactly what happened to one of mine. Best thing to do is, after you've taken them out into the yard to go to the bathroom, wash their feet right as they come in.
Okay.
Just wipe them off, clean them off as best you can.
Okay, and which brings me to our next tip, first aid medication.
First aid medication, I have a little first aid kit,
Okay.
and then I have a kit that I know I need for my dogs.
Right.
Whether it's even more stuff to keep them calm, you want stuff, the bandages that you can use for bandage, first aid cream that you can use, stuff that they can get at the drugstore. You can get saline water in a can that you can spray the wound out of. And that goes for your family members. Calendula, that's another one that's great that helps. That's homeopathic, but you can use it for healing wounds and things like that. And you can use that for your family members and your dog.
Right.
And that's the best thing. If you've got all this stuff up, if you use more of the natural stuff, you can use it for both family and dogs and cats.
So our next tip goes to identification, what we spoke about. Make sure you have the tag, if it's chipped. Make sure you have a recent photo. That way, if your pet does get lost during a storm, we'd be able to track it down a little bit easier.
And if you're going to a shelter or somewhere, get a roll of paper towels, stick it in there.
Right.
Some kind of soaps too that you can use.
Okay, so maybe like an animal care supplies,
Yes.
or cleaning supplies.
Plastic bags. I've taken where you take the 13 by the stuff that you would make brownies or cake with, the 13 by 9 pan.
Right.
You can put a little trash bag over it, and there you can put your kitty litter, so that when you go to clean out that, you just roll it backwards and
that's a great idea.
Clean out the pans, and it's easy available to travel wherever you need to.
That's great. So I've been reading some things online about barometric pressure, basically where animals can sense like a storm coming, like the birds you see in the sky. Is it the same thing with dogs and cats?
And most definitely. And the kennels that we used to have to, the sun would be shining and be beautiful, and the dogs that were storm scared, we'd have to treat in the sunshine, because they knew, they started pacing the kennels and stuff.
Wow.
They can feel the change before we do.
Wow.
So it's something that they're going to know how bad it is too, just by their pacing and what they feel. So a lot of times, even in the sun shining, you definitely want to possibly treat them then, because they're feeling the pressure changing.
So as soon as you see it, you're acting strange, the better, the quicker the better.
Plenty of water, and get something to them so that they can help keep them calm.
Great. Any other tips or anything that you think of?
No, just like I said, the things that we want to make sure is not to make sure you remember them too. What you're going to do with them, don't panic, everybody's, at least in Florida, everybody helps everybody.
Right.
It's just don't forget them. That's it, because they're not sure what you're doing and what's going on.
Right. Well, that's the end of this video, and we appreciate everybody who watches, subscribes, and likes our video. We really appreciate the feedback that you guys have been giving us these past few videos since we started 1st of July. And we'll see you in the next video.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.